Hear me, Lord of the stars, for thee have I worshipped ever, with stains and sorrows and scars, with joyful endeavor. Hear me, O lily white goat, crisp as a thicket of thorns, when a collar of gold for my throat, a scarlet bow from my thorns. Welcome to Luna and the Druid and the Devil. Today is all about the devil card, Luna. What do you think of the devil card?
It's a very interesting and not fully understood cards. I love it
Yeah.
because it's a wake up moment. And if it's for me, it's a place of hitting the rock bottom. And if you won't hit it, then there comes the tower for you. So very dark, very interesting card, as I said. So
Yeah.
perhaps we could delve in because it's so many interpretations and there's so many symbolism in the devil card.
Yeah. And of course, it's brought very much into comparison with card number 13, which is the death card, which is also rock bottom and also bottoming out. But the devil card is way more way more different. It's because we have of course we have the Roman Catholic idea of the devil, where it's about temptation and sin and obsession and secrecy and dark dark shadows within. um, uh, but of course it goes way deeper, it goes way further, because um, we also have things that you wouldn't necessarily call like sin in the traditional way, like greed and um, wanting more and desire and everything. And these things are sometimes neither good nor bad, but they need to be balanced. So there is again an element of balance there, balancing out. Um,
Well, shall we say imbalance?
or yeah, balancing out the imbalance. Yeah, very good, very good. And yeah, so it's a card that many also tarot designers are struggling with, as we look at the different ways it's represented. I have a few with me, so let's dive in, or maybe make this one super big. So the first card is the traditional one, where the devil is about uh, chaining you into your desires, chaining um, chaining the couple. So there's also the sexual desires, um, and they can be connected in a good way and in a different way, of course. And up here it's being caught up. And this is the 16th 17th century Tower de Marseille, and the images uh, is continuing until early 20th century, when in the Rider Waite Smith tarot we still see a chained couple that wants to be free, but they fell for sin and sinful lives. So very religious and very rigid card meanings in the old decks. We
Mhm.
got rid of it in the 1940s, when Lady Frida Harris uh, took a very different approach. Um, the goat, of course, representing Carnunos, the Lord of Beasts, also representing the inverted pentacle. And this card also represents like a bit of sexual or phallistic symbology, where the rings of Saturn, or the rings of Nuit, the goddess, her where the phallic system or the phallic symbol goes into. So there's um, more liberation there, more freedom. Um, Still, you see creatures here wanting to go out, wanting to be born, and so there's a wider aspects here. Um, when we go to the alchemical tarot of Robert Place, we see that the couple is no longer separated and bound by chains, but they're more or less coagulated. So they alchemically they joined together, the emperor and the empress, as a couple, and now they hold each other hostage. So there's also a bit of negativity there. Um, which in the Druidcraft Tarot is much more liberating, where we find the balance, we find the loved ones. Uh, they're having um, they're celebrating Bieltana, they're celebrating the great rite of love, and what comes after the sleep and the rest. And the balance that they create here. So, if we look at the nature depictions of the card, we find a much more balanced idea than we would all these ages ago. So there are a lot of interesting developments there, and yeah, a lot of future. So the primary keywords of the card would be blind impulse, irresistibly strong, and unscrupulous ambition. Ambition, temptation, obsession. Wow, there you have it. Secret plan about to be executed. So secrecy, conspiracies, hard work, and then hard work in the sphere of workaholism, obstinacy, rigidity, stuck in your beliefs, aching discontent, and also endurance, because the devil is persistent. It's a persistent force.
Also, all sorts of addictions, binds, choosing things which make us feel low vibrational, alcohol, drugs, sexual abuse, sexual um, addiction, all the toxic binds, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy choices, work which keeps us stuck, but we choose because it's a comfort zone. That's all represented by the devil card. And I really love that you brought the cards with a traditional image where the two lovers were binded by the chains. It's very it's mirroring, it's almost mirroring a Gemini card, the lovers card, with the two people in the similar set, with the angel in the lovers being replaced by the devil. I really like cards you showed, and the transition from the more classic into this different approach. I also brought few cards completely different, as I love to bring to this show, something different. I'll start with the best one to show on the Beltane, because where we're recording it in a lifetime, it's actually we're celebrating Beltane. So element of fire you mentioned. Uh, I love this card. I absolutely love this card. He's holding Atame in his hands, so there is a bit of ritual going on there, and the horns created by the fire. Completely different way of looking at the devil. Here you mentioned the Christian way of looking at the devil as a sin, and this would be the more traditional way of the way we look at the devil itself. The symbols here are very strong with the devil itself and the pentagram, which is upside down,
Yeah,
representing an imbalance.
yeah, the
Yes,
Baphomet, the goat god. That's there. Yeah.
you probably will have this one on the slides.
No, no. Today we have the a
Surprise!
traditional one.
So
So
I'm
it's
glad
better
I
to
brought
show
it.
this one. Yeah.
I love this one because look into his eyes. He's lurking, and you can just lose yourself in those
Mhm.
eyes. And for me, it's a beautiful representation of how devil can lure you in. And he's holding the hand, wanting to hold you, but he's in control of this person here, of the anxiety. So it shows the powerfulness of this card. Mm, few more correlated with the Druid version of tarot you brought. Very, very sexual card here with all the symbols representing males and the devil, or actually, shall I say, Pan.
Yeah.
here on the image, and another one which is just a beautiful image of the, I would call it, unhealthy relationships
Yeah.
and unhealthy connections which can come from those relationships, meaningless and loveless, just pure lust, pure passion, pure pleasure, which is also binding them, and which puts the chain on their neck. And last but not least, and very interesting approach by Osho Taro, the card is called conditioning. And we can see here a beast and surrounded by the lambs. Very interesting interpretation of this, because the lambs usually suggest calmness, like kindness, gentleness, and the lion representing the beast.
Yeah. Yeah. So the conditioning pointing to addictions and stuff like that.
Limiting beliefs, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you for those lovely cards. And I really liked what you see in many cards is the connection between the devil and the lovers.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The in this one you have the devil and the lovers. Up here in the alchemical tarot, where they like the bond is too much. You know, it's too sexual. Like in the card that you showed, that they're just one two heads in one mixed body, almost like the art card.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
blend in a good way, and here they blend in a much more negative way. And
Yeah. So that's here.
yeah,
Or here, however, need to cover this card a little bit, because it's pretty naughty, and I love the dragon here as well. It's the
yeah,
dark dancing in the dark tarot.
yep,
So yeah, a lot of redness, a lot of fiery energy, the passion, but the overpowering passion, overtaking forces of energy.
yeah, yeah, it does, it does. So, and of course, our theme of today is what our number zero, our lovely fool will learn of the devil. Which are the lessons the fool gets?
From the devil, yeah.
Yeah, and these are the lessons we found for today. So that was the material bondage. Well, quite obvious. We've seen that already. The power of the shadow itself. So that's the dark side of the shadow self. Yeah, and then the illusions of impotence, confronting fear and desire, freedom through awareness, the necessity of challenges, and reclaiming power. An interesting one as well, reclaiming power.
Mm.
So the first one, material bondage, is what we see in the cards actually, where even in the old ones, where they are stuck together. So the nature of material and physical attachments. So you learn how easy it is to become enslaved in your desires, and not only sexual desires. What more do we have?
You often say about excessive spending, for example,
Yeah, yeah. So spending, that means and
material desires.
yeah, yeah. So it means excessive desire to attract money
Mm.
and
Very, very
get lost in that. Workaholism, spending money, shopping sprees for stuff you don't need to impress people you don't like.
Yeah. Material desires in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then power, being in power, politicians, CEOs of
Mm.
big corporations, and of course the pleasure part. So it's important for any person to recognize, is this a healthy relationship with material, or with any desires, or are my desires unhealthy? And you know, we're all humans, Luna.
Yeah.
I have my unhealthy desires as well, and
We all do.
yeah, oftentimes it's enough to recognize them, and recognizing them will take away their power, because that's the moment that you can do it consciously and
Mm.
knowingly, and then it's no longer the devil. Then there's something else at play, and you can still see if it's healthy or unhealthy. But yeah, we're all humans, and we all have our ideas of the good and the other things. Uh, yeah, and let's avoid being controlled.
The important part you mentioned is awareness, so the ability to recognize it. Because if it not, if it won't happen, and I mentioned that before as well, is that the universe will send us a wrecking ball, which will just make things even worse. At least it may seem like this, just at the beginning, but it serves the purpose. And what purpose it serves, you will find out next week when we're going to talk about the Tower card. But back
Yes.
to the devil now. Don't want to confuse anyone. However, it is important to know that the devil serves its purpose. And if we won't learn from the devil, well, the destruction may go further ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, and the natural transition then is the power of the shadow self, because
Mm.
all these desires, uh, they're they live, they live in our shadows. They live in our shadow selves. Um, so the part of the psyche containing repressed weaknesses, desires, and instincts.
Which beautifully come into the meeting the shadow self.
Yes. Yes. So meeting the shadow self, and then um, learning to also to accept the shadow, because we all have the way we present ourselves open to the whole world. Then we
Mm,
have the second layer is the way we present ourselves to people we know a little better. We can open up, be a bit more vulnerable to them. And then we get to where Jung says the secretive self, and the deeper layers of the secretive selves, where our uncontrolled lusts and desires um, house, and yeah, can we control them? Can we see from this darkness? Can we see the light, and can we still
mm.
see the light? Can we accept our shadow selves as well being manifest?
Many people are scared of the shadow self or the shadow in general, and I often come across people saying that shadow is not a good thing. However, I perceive it differently, because in the shadow, that's where the biggest growth happens, that's the biggest transition and challenge happens. So it is an interesting space to discover, get familiar, maybe befriend, and then heal. Because that's what the idea of the shadow, meeting the shadow self, is be
Yeah,
able to heal it.
yeah. To heal it, to um, yeah, to accept it, that it exists,
Mhm.
and then
Very important part. It starts with
and
accepting it, absolutely.
and then integrating it, because
Mm.
it's not necessarily all bad. um, the shadow self is also the thing that comes up immediately when we're in defense mode.
And you touched on something very important. um, Accepting, acknowledging, and integration. We are not just the light. We are not just the good, even though we would want to perceive ourselves and we want to do everything to be perceived and to be the light. However, the light cannot exist with the darkness. And accepting the dark parts of us is important aspect of the fool's journey and aspect of our life. Becoming the true version of who we are, not just the pretended, not just the one we hide from others.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, and what we often also hide from others is our own insecurities, and that's of course the
Mm.
next part of the thing, the illusion of impotence, and that's not sexual impotence only, but also the helplessness and hopelessness, and the idea that we are not in control of our lives. And I know you and me, we both have worked very, very hard in our personal growth, where we we accept that we can't control everything. So there is an element of accepting that things happen. Things happen. They do.
Yeah.
And you have to accept that you can't control everything. Uh, but on top of that, of course, there is the learning that you can create the life of your dreams, that you can create a better life for yourself.
Yeah. Imagine you go to work every day and you feel trapped and you feel that the circumstances are forcing you to be in that place you don't want to be. And that's an illusion because every day you make a decision to go to that work and not to make change. And that's where devil comes in to show us that aspect of it and that lesson to teach us that.
Yeah, yeah. So there we get the combination of accepting and integrating the shadows, so the hidden ideas or the hidden thoughts we keep to ourselves, that we don't have the power to change, and listen to the other devil that says, "Come up, come on, step out of your comfort zone,
Come.
come, throw away the box."
I'm waiting here for you with my arms open. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 and then finding the integration and taking the correct steps
Mm,
out of your situation, out of the situation you want to get out of. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and then confronting fear and desire. You
Mm,
know, that's immediately the next step. The fear of stepping out of this comfort zone, the desire to step out of it, and yeah, and to live it, to accept it and to live it, to look in the mirror and reflecting your your desires and fears that you haven't confronted yourself with, and
mm.
understanding them, managing them responsibly.
The devil itself is the fear. I always say that the most powerful demon that exists is the fear. What is fear? False experience appearing real. The fear is one of the most limiting beliefs and the limiting emotions, which will always keep you stuck in the comfort zone, safe, hiding, not taking that step ahead. Um, and devil forces us to overcome that.
Yeah, and to step it.
Otherwise, he'll keep us binding
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, and
shackles.
then and from that awareness comes the step into freedom,
Mm,
where you take responsibility, which is point five of the lessons, that the devil that says that true freedom comes from awareness, comes from also from courage and uh, also temperance. So there's we could say all the cards that came before, the integration of all these steps in your life will teach you to become aware of all the good things, the other things, the opportunities, the missed opportunities, but would give you the power that uh, yeah, that stepping into the unknown is not bad. It's courageous. And what's the worst that can happen? Is what the devil says.
it's really lovely that it's actually number five you mentioned, and five is all about change. And what I noticed is how we went through fear into the freedom through awareness by being number five, representing the transformation. I found it actually really, really hilarious when we look at this aspect and take the number itself. But yeah, liberation from ourselves, from our limiting beliefs and external expectations, and creating our own values, our own belief system, which is true to us, not the environment, not the people who surround us and who often tell us how to feel, what to do. Because very often it's other people who become our devil and keep us
They terrorize us. They say, "No, you cannot do that." they feed our limiting beliefs. They feed the limiting beliefs
Yeah.
that
By
live in
projecting their
us.
own limiting beliefs on
Of
ourselves.
course, it's their beliefs, and they poison our minds with their limiting beliefs, and that's where you have to, uh, yeah, to stand up, free yourself, say, okay, this is my life. It's your life. It's not someone else's life, and you can't live someone else's life. You have to live your own life,
Mm.
and that's the freedom to awareness.
And I think that's my favorite aspect of the devil, because the devil is the one who pushes us and forces us to overcome the challenges.
Bingo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, and then you make the logical transition to point six, the necessity of challenges.
Challenges are needed in order to grow. We either learn through fun or pain. And when we're kids, we tend to learn through fun. But unfortunately, when we grow up and we become a part of a society, which is not necessarily a healthy thing these days, um, and then all of a sudden, we tend to stop having fun and learning through fun, but learn through pain and the mistakes and the
Mhm.
experiences which are not positive. Because we either learn through fun or fear, or fun or pain. We
Yeah,
tend to have fun, we tend to gain pleasure, or we tend to avoid pain.
yeah. So the moment that the child, the young one, is still the magician and looks the world magically, and then pain
Yes.
hits, and that's not even, that can already happen at a very young age,
Mhm.
and you learn to grow from day one, when you learn that it's not all magic in the world.
Yeah, but what challenges teach us to take matters in our own hands, to seek help, for example,
Yeah,
speak up, find opportunities for growth.
yeah,
Um, and it's very often that moment helps us to develop determination in with achieving our goal as well.
yeah, exactly.
Mm,
And of course, then we when we face the challenges and have faced them, we claim we claim our lives back. We
mhm,
claim power over ourselves back. We get rid of the chains that the devil uh, binds us with. So we we over we reclaim our inner power, and we don't take that shite any longer.
mhm. Yeah. The great example would be overcoming and leaving an abusive relationship. Uh, when the relationship is not healthy, there is a lot of things which need to be rebuilt and restored.
Yeah,
Autonomy, self-confidence, self-worth. Very often those are shattered in those type of relationship. So having the power to overcome and recognize the own worth in the process, that would be a good example of reclaiming that power within us.
yeah. So the reclaiming of power involves taking responsibility
Mhm.
for your current state. So your state
Mm,
can be, of course, other people can have helped you get into that state, but it's your state and you're responsible. Your past decisions you made, you're responsible for them, no one else. And recognize your capacity to change them, because
mm,
that's the big lessons of reclaiming power. So learn that you hold the keys to your own change, to your own chains, and the strength you have to unlock the keys, or to unlock the chains, and free yourself whenever you choose.
yeah. I encourage you guys to ask yourself in what ways you are enslaved in your life, and in what ways maybe you're tangled up to some unhealthy attachments or unhealthy habits. Um, Maybe that's unhealthy relationship with money, overspending, or the opposite, being uh, greedy. Just look at your life with honesty and see where the devil is hiding.
Yeah. And from there, free yourself. Because freedom, dear viewers, is the greatest good.
Yeah. And the freedom is also a choice.
Of course, it is. And with that, dear viewers,
Yeah.
we get to the end of the story of the false lessons from the devil.
Mhm.
To see you again soon.
Please remember to like this video, leave your comment on your thoughts about the devils, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and see you in the space. Bye.
Goodbye, all.